I wonder about astrology. Okay, if astrology is true, then everybody who is born under the same sign should have roughly the same personality, right? And if you're born on the same date under the same star sign, then you should be virtually identical. I did some research on when famous people were born. For instance, May the 5th, those twin icons of communism, Karl Marx and Tammy Wynette. November the 7th, Leon Trotsky and Sue Pollard. Two peas in a pod, them, aren't they? January the 8th, Stephen Hawking, the man recognised as the modern master of theoretical physics, and Shirley Bassey. March the 14th, me and Albert Einstein. Absolutely true. Astrologically, me and Einstein are virtually twins. One is credited with being the single most intelligent human being of the 20th century. The other one is a kraut with a stupid hairdo. Anyway, what's been happening in the news? Hey, not a lot, is that? You can't beat Bill Clinton, can you? Eh? A comedian's dream. Thank you, God. Thank you. What do you want? 2 hours? 4 hours? Bill Clinton, head of the Western world. Well, he would be, wouldn't he? Harmonica. Mouth organ. It's too easy, it's too easy. No. Actually, Bill Clinton came to Birmingham last May with the G8 summit. We had all the world's leaders coming to Birmingham, you know. And Birmingham has got a great council. We've got a really good council, and they try ever so hard. They don't always get it right, but they have a good go. And obviously they wanted to make a really good impression with all the world's leaders coming to Brum, you see. And no stone was left unturned. And for real, from the airport into the Birmingham city centre, which is about 9 miles, they sprayed all the grass green. Good move, good move. And when the leaders arrived, it was this beautiful hot spring day, and all the Brummies were picnicking on it. And when the leaders drove by, all these little green Brummies were waiting. And the height of the sexual scandal with Clinton, where did the council put him up? The Swallow Hotel. You don't have to write it, it's just there, isn't it? You know? And on the way into Birmingham, it's called the Coventry Road, and and about 4 or 5 miles in, on the Coventry Road, there's a ladies' hairdressers called Monica's. And the council were a bit sensitive, and they didn't want Clinton to drive by, you know, with sort of Monica's, Clinton, click, Birmingham, aha. So they went along to see the owner, and he was a bloke. He'd been there about 8 years, and they wondered if he could do something about it. And he was a bit miffed, you know, who the hell's Clinton? So he renamed the shop Cut and Blow. I don't know. Americans are funny people, aren't they? Odd. Odd. Any Americans in? Good. I had a run-in with one last June. Okay. And last June, they asked me to compare the Lady Diana Memorial Concert at Althorpe in Northampton, you see. And I was well chuffed about that, you know. I thought, oh, that's an honour. And, well, it was either doing that or Glastonbury. That's a waste of time, isn't it? And I've compared there. Like, I mean, the whole audience is on marijuana. They don't start laughing until they get home. So, I went along to Althorpe to do this comparing, and I got there, and it was in June, and it was pouring with rain, if you remember. And it was like the Somme, you know. Only this time the generals are at the front. And, I do the odd bit of social comment, I should warn you there. And it was in two halves, and it was sort of, the first half was arty-farty, you know, and opera and stuff. And the second half was what I had to compare, and Chris de Burgh was on, and the Lighthouse Family. Cliff Richard was there. He turned up late because of the rain, and luckily Tim Henman and Greg Rosecki were in the audience, so they had a set of tennis to entertain everybody. And when I got there, there was this surprise guest on, you see, and I'd done all my notes off the programme and stuff, and it was this American guy, and you'll know who he is when I tell you, and because I can never get his name right. David Hasselhoff. Yes, he of Baywatch. You know who I'm on about? Yes. Right. Did you know he was a singer? Yes. Oh, you did? Yeah, it's smart ass, aren't you? Yes, we did, actually. Yeah. We're from Guildford. We know everything. I'm sorry, I'm a thick brummie. I didn't know. Well, apparently he is a singer, you see, and I didn't know this. And I said, well, I don't know anything about him, you know, what can I say? And they said, well, go and see him and, you know, get some information off him, you see. And I said, well, you know, I mean, I wouldn't recognise him. I'll watch Baywatch. Get a bra around his face, I've got a chance. And they said, go to his caravan and check it out, you see. And they said, but whatever you do, don't mention Pamela Anderson. Right. Well, he had a fight with her and they fell out. Everyone's a comedian, aren't they? And they said, go and see him, but beware, he's a bit Hollywood. Yeah, and apparently, for real, what he'd been doing is he'd been there since about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and he'd been going around backstage everywhere, introducing himself to everybody, saying, hi, I'm David Hasselhoff, nice to work with you. Here's my signed photo. And everybody got a signed photo, which is a bit Hollywood, isn't it? You know, and it went down really well with the Glaswegian roadies. Very much, eh? So I went to his caravan, you see, and knocked on the door, and they let me in, and they introduced me, and he came over and, hi, I'm David Hasselhoff, nice to work with you. Here's my signed photo. And I was ready for this, because I gave him one of mine. And he didn't see the funny side of it. Oh, thank you very much, I'll keep this. Eh? You're the first one that will, you know. I was a bit miffed, I've only had 4 printed, you know. So I thought I'd better ask him something, so immediately I put my foot in it, you know, bladoosh. Oh, a big bladoosh. Because I said, well, of course, we don't know you here as a singer. What? Oh, straight down my throat. What? Excuse me, I'm a major international singing artiste. Did you not know this? I am very big in Germany, all over Europe. I have 25 gold albums. Ooh, bloody hell. Funky moped pal. He'd never heard of it. Well, some international singing artist you are, you know. 25 gold albums, I thought at least there'll be a cover version. No. So anyway, we didn't get off on the right foot, you know, and anyway, I left him. And of course, when you do these concerts, I mean, you fly by your pants because there's no rehearsal time or anything, you know. And of course, I mean, you know, things get delayed and it all gets a bit confused. And so, anyway, I introduced him as David Tosseloff. Well, it's easily done, isn't it? And of course he came bounding on stage and 20,000 people are laughing, you know. And of course he didn't know what Tosseloff meant. And someone explained it to him and he came looking for me. And you know when you've gone bladoosh, isn't it easy to go bladoosh? Oh yes. So the concert was very successful and it got a little bit overrun, but not too bad. So it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's all gone very well, thank you. And we've all got to leave at the same time. Well, of course, 20,000 people leave, and I thought it's going to take hours to get out. It took me hours to get in, you know. And I'm talking to a copper about this, and he said, oh, it's not a problem, Jasper. He said, there's an emergency route out for ambulances and the police, you see. He said, go and see Jack at the gate, and he'll let you through. So I went down, and sure enough, Jack let me through. So I'm now driving out the Althorpe estate, okay? And it is a massive estate. I didn't realise how big it was. It's country lanes and everything, and I'm driving through. And I get to the exit gate, okay, and there's a cattle grid, okay? And stuck in the cattle grid is a sheep. Ma, ma, ma. Well, thought, oh, blimey, no. You know, you know, what the hell do you do? You know, back the car up and have a run at it or something. So I'll park the car, you know. I thought, all right. And I don't know a lot about sheep, you know, and there's not too many of them in Birmingham. And they've got teeth. So I'm not risking that, you know. So I went round the back. Oh, come on! Oh, you're better than that. What is it, a day trip from Wales or something? Come on. So I managed to get his hind legs and I pulled it in. And they're heavy things, aren't they? You know, there's blokes nodding out there. How do you know? I don't know. And he was going bananas, you know. I gave it the photo of David Hasselhoff, you know. And I couldn't get it out. And then this car comes along. It's David Hasselhoff. And I panicked. And I just thought, all right, if I could drag the sheep back, shut up, and get enough space, the car will come through, and that's what happens. I'm there, and the car starts to come, and it stops, and he's in the passenger seat, and he winds the window down, and he looks at the sheep eating his photo, and he said, you know, you are one really weird guy. What makes you say that then? What's your name again? Max Boyce. But he must have said something to somebody because I've had an invite to do the Jerry Springer show. You watch that? Does everybody in America shag everybody they're related to? Last week was that 30-stone ex-Vietnam War vet who admitted to having sex with his mother-in-law's vacuum cleaner. Now he's worried because he never used a Hoover bag. It makes our lot look a bit wimpy, doesn't it? Kilroy. I mean, he's trying to spice his programme. Oh, well, today, we've got a man who had sex with his mother-in-law's daughter. What, his wife? Well, yes, but we're trying to spice the programme. Who does his makeup? He looks as if he's been tangoed. And Vanessa. Fancy being interviewed by Bouncy Castle. We've got an estate in Birmingham called Castle Vale, okay? And it was built on the site of an old aircraft factory. And the council, in its wisdom, to commemorate World War II, named all the roads after heroes and things, you see. This is quite true, absolutely true. And we've got a Spitfire Road, a Humber Drive, a Churchill Place, and a Barder Walk. Barder Walk. It's there in the A to Z. You can look it up. Barder Walk. I was looking for Fuck Away, but I thought... Yeah, we've got some funny things. What else was I going to talk about? Well, actually, Clinton was really good, and he made a very big impression. And at least he's good looking. I mean, at least you can understand why, you know, women are attracted to him. Would you agree, ladies? No. No? OK, well, that shows how much I know. All right. Now, well, who have we got? Eh? Robin Cook. The Red Dwarf. I bet you when he told his missus they were getting a divorce, I bet she jumped up and down with glee. Thank you, God, thank you. No more waking up to a lie. We've got some funny politicians, haven't we? David Mellor, he's an ugly bastard, isn't he? No wonder she sucked his toe. We've got some odd people in this country. Gary Glitter. Hey? Do you want to be in my gang? My gang, my gang. Oh, not right now, Gary. No. He's teaming up with Michael Jackson. They're going to sing, "We are the world, where are the children?" I've been on tour, and we've got this roadie. He used to be George Michael's right-hand man. We've got some funny people. Oh, this roadie's weird. Oh, yes, you know him. Good, yeah. He used to be a roadie for Metallica and Black Sabbath and Meatloaf and the Nolans. I don't know what planet he's on at all, but he was telling us, he went on that march in London to legalise cannabis. He said, well, it started out as a march and sort of ended up as a wonder. Keith Richards was on the march. Well, there's a surprise, eh? He'd legalise anthrax if he could smoke. He looks as if he's had a post-mortem to me. And the march was reported in the Times, and the Times said the turnout was high. Also in the Times, just, I don't know whether you saw it last week, there was... Also in the Times, I don't know whether you saw it last week. No, I can't see that one. I can't. Where are you from? Castle Vale, very good. Now, I don't know if you remember, but Colditz Castle came up for sale in East Germany. And it was up for sale for a mark, one German mark, because it was so dilapidated you needed millions to spend on it. Well, according to the Times, Disney are interested. Yes, Disney want to purchase Colditz. That's all we need, isn't it? Gestapo world. 101 Alsatians. Mother Goose stepping round the ramparts. They're bound to have a ride called Dunkirk to celebrate the only time the British have beaten the Germans to the beach. Right. Last year, excuse me, last year I did the London Marathon. Well, I've never done one before, you know, but it seemed a good idea after about 6 pints of Guinness. Well, you know, you brag a bit while I do a little bit of running. You know, it was about 3 miles, you know, about 3 times a week. And someone said, well, you know, what about the marathon? Well, yeah, what about it? And I realised what I'd let myself in for the next day. You know, it's 26 miles. Yes, 26 miles. The only way I could contemplate running 26 miles would be to involve a chase with a nude Pamela Anderson. Even then, after about 5 or 6 miles, I'd be thinking, oh, stuff this. Yeah, that catch me. In my dreams, yes, I know. No, but I got really involved with it, you know, and I did all the training and took all the advice. I got loads of sponsorship. People are very generous. And Robert Powell sponsored me. 10p a mile. Oh, yes, I'll sponsor you, Darcy. Oh, yes, I've got some money somewhere, I think. And did all the training. The best piece of advice I had was to start slow and get slower. And everybody warns you about the wall when you hit the wall. something happens to you physically, the glycogen runs out your body and like it becomes very painful to run, you know. Watch out for the wall. I couldn't give a toss about the wall. I'm worried about hitting the road. So I got all ready for it, and it was, I mean, if ever you get the chance to do it, it is fantastic. I mean, it's a one-off, and you've got to do it, you know. And there's a tremendous camaraderie. I went along, and they start off in Blackheath. 30,000 people waiting for the off. Fantastic. I mean, just everybody helping each other away. That, you know, fantastic. And of course, they put all the elite runners at the front, and then all the intermediate runners, and then the club runners, and then the people who can run. And I'm at the back. You know, all these people dressed as ostriches. You know. Big Ben and dolphins, you know, and I'm wearing a body bag to save time at the other end. And we're all waiting for the off, you know, and the horn goes, mwah, and we all start running. So, well, there's 30,000 people, and I'm at the back, and it takes me 7.5 minutes to reach the starting line. I went through the wall twice. Anyway, I'm determined to do 10-minute miles, you know, which will see me in under 4.5 hours, which I thought was a good target. So I started running along, and it was great. I mean, tremendous. And all the spectators, very encouraging and everything. I'm just running around. And all sorts of people take part. It's remarkable. It's loads of London cabbies. Hey, I didn't know they could walk, let alone run. You could spot them running, because they used to run like this, you know. Here, how you doing? All right? Yeah. It took them ages because they went via Bristol. And all these old people take part. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, really old people, 80, 85. You know. We could go faster on a stair lift, you know. Are you all right? Yes, thank you. And the only thing you have to watch out for are St John's ambulance people. They hunt in packs. You're going to cough or stumble and run. I've got him, he's mine. Get out. Anything to get the tongue down your throat. I didn't want an aspirin. You go, and they get that bandage out, everybody gets that, you know. Everybody's running the marathon looking like Tutankhamun. You know? What's up with you, jogger's nipple? Oh. And there was this one bloke, for real, he ran the whole marathon playing the trombone. Oh, he was really popular, wasn't he? And he started off at the back with me, and he was doing 10-minute miles as well. So after 2 hours of When the Saints Come Marching In, he hit the wall a lot earlier than he thought he was going. And he finished the race on 3 legs, if you get my drift. What was really good was the way people run, all the sorts of different styles of running, because I've never observed people running before. You never have the time, do you, really? But I mean, 4 hours in a marathon. And it was, yeah, there's a lot of women don't actually run. They do this sort of very fast mince. It's like... and blokes run and they never move their arms. Like they're carrying heavy suitcases, like... and people trying to lead their arse behind, you know. Anyway, I got to 19.5, 20 mile, and I hit the wall for real, you know. And nothing quite prepares you for it, because like one minute you're human, and then sort of like you're like a daddy long legs. So it's like, and like I thought, well, I used to be able to run here, and it's really painful. I mean, and I've got another 6 miles to go, and I don't think I'm going to be able to complete this. But the thought, just the thought of screwing an extra 60p out of that tight-fisted... All the incentive I needed to get going on. So I carried on. Then I got a little bit of relief, and I was all right. And then I got to 21, 22, 22 and a half mile, and then I heard in the background... And the bastards overtook me. This one woman said, "Are you all right, young man?" Never been so embarrassed. Anyway, finished. 4 hours, 37 and a half minutes. Very proud of that. And it used to be called the London Mars Marathon, and they used to give you a Mars bar. Now it's called the London Flora Marathon, and you get a tub of margarine. It's just what you want after 26 miles, isn't it? Anyway, we gave all ours to the bloke with the trombone, help him get it out. Oh, I was bragging about that for a while. I mean, oh, I've done the marathon, you know. And then, seriously, 2 months after the marathon, this could only happen to me. 2 months later, I get run over by a golf buggy. Only I could get run over by a golf buggy. I'm minding my own business, and a bloke gets in, and he thinks it's in forward gear, and it's in reverse. And he slams his foot on the accelerator, and boom, straight into me. Boom. Yes, very funny. Oh, hysterical, isn't it? Well, that's the point. I mean, I was knocked to the ground there. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble here. But because as a comedian, you don't get any sympathy, do you? It's the Carrott prattling about. Come on, that's fake blood, that is, God. And they took me to hospital, and I was all right eventually, but well, yeah, and but I was in trouble there for a while, and the press got hold of it, because it's a good press story, isn't it? And I didn't talk to any of them, but that doesn't make any difference, does it? Oh, no, depending on what paper you buy depends upon what happened to me. And I made The Guardian. Mr. Carrott suffered a multiple infarction of the cartilaginous ligaments when encountering an electromagnetic perambulatory transport vehicle. The Daily Mirror, Carrott gets smacked up the arse with a golf buggy. The Sun, Carrott found bonking bird in bunker gets bashed bollocks by bus-eyed boy in a buggy. The Sunday Sport. Carrott abducted by crotchless aliens is gangbanged in golf cart driven by Elvis Presley on Jupiter. I ask you, eh? Jupiter.